We are live. Welcome to another episode of season 2 of Building in Public with the Streamr TV, Streamr app, and Streamr network team. We have here Mark, Petri, and myself, Adiv. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, doing great. How are you, Dave? You good?
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
good, doing good.
Yeah, doing very well.
Yeah, very well indeed. Yeah, as you're introducing, I was just looking at the latest Figma designs of Streamer Beta, which is coming soon. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, looking awesome.
Do we want to share those maybe later, or what's our thoughts on that?
Yeah, we'd love to share them. I think what I could do is I could do one of those little sort of selfie videos and just give an update and post it out on X and other social media platforms later this week or next week. But yeah, I think the UI and the UX is looking pretty clean. It's kind of black and purple, but not quite like the background of this call. But it's a bit more subtle than that. But yes, it's looking really clean, really nice, and we're introducing a whole host of features. So you'll have heard us talk about multi-streaming before and StreamYard, and yeah, Petri and I are going through that with the team this morning. So that's coming together, and Meet to Earn, which is a referral marketing system inside the product, so that you can host your video conferences or your broadcasts, and you can bring in new users and earn as you do so. So that's coming together. It's going to be a big part of our sort of growth engine. So yeah, looking good. And what else to say? Yeah, Petri is trying to get the alpha out of the door. So the alpha we're going to release to the community hopefully on Friday if all goes to plan. And yeah, we'll let Petri talk a bit more about that in a moment. So yeah, product-wise, lots is happening and coming along, as is the marketing side of things as well now, which is good. We started running a bunch of search campaigns globally just to start warming up the accounts and get initial understandings of kind of messaging and CPC and click-through rates, and we've been working on that sort of behind the scenes for the last couple of months. So that's all coming along nicely as well, and building out various sort of campaigns for as we go to market in March. So yeah, all good. It's very exciting, and we're looking forward to getting out the door. Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited for the alpha as well. I think it's going to be I mean, the iterations that we've come from Streamr, the Streamr TV. If people are with us, they're in Streamr TV era where it's still up, right? If people want to go, actually, I don't think it is, but yeah, actually, it is still up. If you don't want to check that out, it's under Streamr.com. Actually, it's not up anymore, but that was the first MVP, Streamr TV, and we started there basically almost a year in the making. This whole concept and idea of serverless, trustlessness, video conferencing, and video streaming idea was surfaced by the team. So it's good to see it all kind of manifest within itself now.
Yeah, that MVP is still live, by the way. It's just at a different URL. So it's at tv.streamer.network if you want to have a play with it. So that MVP is one to many. So you can broadcast a unlimited audience size. And that was kind of the product before we get to Streamer Beta in March. So yeah.
And the Streamer Beta is going to be just so you can make it more clear for my understanding and for obviously the audience. When you go on the Streamr app, the current domain is streamr.com.
Well, that's the website.
That's the website, right?
Yes.
And then when you actually go to the application, Streamr app, how is it going to look once you're on that?
Yeah, so first of all, it's going to be hosted at app.streamer.com. And then when you go into the product, you can do a number of things, but you can host, there's two principal use cases. One is you can host a video conference. And the second is that you can broadcast that video conference to an audience. So there's sort of a broadcasting use case. But the whole thing centers around the fact that we are serverless and more private than your typical video platform. Serverless being the really important part, because it means that we're, I would say, hyper secure. Very, very difficult for anyone to get into your video stream that isn't permissioned. And in today's world, this is increasingly important. So, we saw towards the end of last year and all through the beginning of this year, whistleblowers are talking about how Google are looking at all of their data, including email, calendar, G Drive, maps, looking at all of the metadata, but also the content of raw content of those channels, of those products, sorry, I should say. And I think there was something came out today or just yesterday. It was about Google scraping voice data from Google devices inside homes without consent, and they've just paid a $68 million fine, which is a pitiful amount given the breach in privacy and security and how much revenue that company makes. But yeah, we all know the game that Google play, and they do the same thing with video conferencing with Gmeet. So that is why our serverless end-to-end encrypted by default solution is kind of key for privacy advocates going forwards. And we think everyone that's using video conferencing apps on a daily basis, which is a lot of people globally, should be protecting their IP. We're talking about the project or company secrets of many startups, medium-sized companies, and even large corporations. So there's that trend. And the other big macro trend we're seeing at the moment, which is really quite interesting from a European perspective, is because of these kind of geopolitical tensions at the moment, EU governments and agencies are kind of moving away from the dependence on American technology. So as much as we all hate to see this, there seems to be a bit of a rift now between the States and Europe, which is a sad day, frankly. But, from a commercial perspective, that opens up an opportunity for Streamr, because, we're building European tech that is more secure, more private than the American incumbents. So today, I believe it was French government announced that they are banning all of their government agencies from using Microsoft Teams, Zooms, and Google Meet for this very reason.
That's huge.
It's huge, but it's crazy times, right? I mean, I never really felt like we would see this in our lifetimes. Naively, I always was kind of born with the assumption that the world was going to get better, more stable, and that post-World War II, the existence of NATO, the UK and Europe's relationship with the US, those things were kind of...
We get better. We'll continue to get stronger. Globalization. Yeah.
But the globalization experiment has kind of been failing for some time now, and for a lot of people around the world. And so it seems the world is moving to a new world order, if we must call it that.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting if we're moving in that direction, because it's like, because internet and the tech like currently has made everything so much smaller, the world so much smaller.
Right.
Yet globalization is like falling by the wayside. So it's like an interesting dichotomy that's happening when the world feels like it's getting a lot smaller, because now communication, you can do WhatsApp and message people, and go on X and message people all on these social media apps, and from China, and you're in the US, when even 20 years ago, like, to be able to do stuff like this, even if you're in Europe and be able to communicate with someone in America, it cost money, or there was a lot of friction there. Now it's like within seconds you can communicate with people. Like we're doing this right now. We're having a live stream between me and you, and I'm in Miami, you're in in Europe, and like it's just a weird dichotomy that we're in right now, where that's actually globalization is kind of becoming less and less interesting for the global powers.
Yeah, it is that weird dichotomy, because all of us work in an increasingly kind of international space, digital environment, and with communities made up of different nationalities. That's the way we've been, all of us now, for many, many years. And then these global geopolitical forces are kind of pulling us apart a bit. So Anyway, not that we should go down the political rabbit hole, but yeah, I think it presents an opportunity for Streamr. You know, there's no one globally that's doing what we're doing. We've got a gap in the market here, and the timing is right as a result of these geopolitical forces. So it's, you know, it's potentially exciting, potentially interesting, and of course, you know, we're not really building Streamr app for governments and for NGOs in Europe per se. You know, we're building this for individuals, for privacy-centric entrepreneurs and people that are leading teams and leading complicated projects on video conferences all day. That's the core user that we're starting with. And, you know, as we talked about many times before in this conference, there are other use cases, you know, much further afield, and they'll come in due course. But this is where we're starting. And really, you know, we're decentralists, and we're building better products for individuals and humans, people. But at the same time, then, if there is this kind of movement at a sort of European level, then you know, we're well positioned to play a role in that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it's cool too to think about, because the best like tech typically trickles down from the, you know, hierarchy people, or like the NGOs, the governments, the you know, the armed forces or armies and stuff, and then comes down to the end consumer like us, the retail guys. But I think now we're in this world where it can start grassroots, right? Like Bitcoin was like the first evolution of that, or first like start of that, where like it started grassroots. At least that's what people think. Some people think it was started by the CIA and stuff, right? I'm not sure, but
I do.
yeah, right. I think we spoke about that, but as far as we know, it's like grassroots. You know, Satoshi Nakamoto was a dev, like all of like, you know, all the current like devs from the cypherpunks, right? So it's an interesting world we're in now, where anyone can basically create this, you know, high-end tech where consumers can start to utilize it right away, and it doesn't have to trickle down from the top to the bottom. So and you know, that's one thing that I think we're doing, that consumers and retailers can really have a advantage with, and start from a place where they're getting tech that is a little bit more superior than the current tech that we're on right now. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and then the other thing to talk about a little bit is the alpha, which is coming on Friday. So I don't want to steal Petri's thunder, because he's the guy that's doing all the hard work with respect to this. So yeah, it'd be great to hear a little bit more from you, Petri, in terms of challenges you've faced over the last couple of weeks, because I know there's been a number of them. But yeah, you've been playing around. You've been testing it more with Santori and the other guys this week. What's the latest, Petri? Tell us all.
Yes. So, well, to start with the definition of this alpha. So this alpha is going to be a simple video conferencing app with no permissions, nothing. I mean, it will work the same way as Streamr TV. Users go there and click start a session, and the session is started. You can share the link with the other participants that you want to invite, and then you are online. So so there are no permissions or user roles or anything like that. Plain and simple video conferencing. And we are going to then start building the beta on top of this alpha version by adding features. So first features that will come are the permission levels for users. So there are going to be hosts, there are going to be speakers, and there are going to be viewers. And this is going to work pretty much the same way as it works in X Spaces nowadays. So the viewers can request to become speakers, and then the host can either approve or reject this request. So basically, we are going to have a user experience that is very similar to X Spaces, but with video. So instead of audio only, we are going to have this kind of teleconferences that are broadcasted to large audiences, and where the audience can interact with video. So this is our grand vision for the beta. So we have made during this last week we have made some very big technical progress. So we have completed the production ready implementation of the architecture, and now we are optimizing the performance of it, and it's looking very promising. We previously had some problems with this Intel Max, so Max using the x86 chips. Those were not powerful enough to run the pre-Christmas internal demo version. But now that we have the new version, it seems that it is actually working on x86 Max. And why is this important? Less and less people are using those computers. So it's like 10-20%. But when you think of teleconferences, it is enough if this one guy is not able to join. 9 guys are able to join, but the one is not. And then the whole teleconference is ruined. So we have focused on tackling this performance issues, and it seems that we have been able to overcome this difficulty, and we are able to run on x86 Max as well.
Awesome, thanks, Petri. And last call we had, you talked about the quality of the picture and the audio, and you were highly confident that we're getting to a place where at least at parity with Google Meet and Zoom, if not better. Can you talk around that a bit more again, just to recap? I know we've discussed it in previous calls, but I think it's really an important point just to cover off again.
Yes. So since we are using this new technology called web codecs, our audio and video quality are going to be better than the standard video and audio quality that you get from regular WebRTC streaming-based systems. So we basically take every frame individually, and decode it and display it individually. So that's how we get a higher video quality than the competitors.
I love it. So my internet's a bit sticky. I don't know if you guys are getting me or I'm cutting out, but
yeah, a little bit. It's fine though. It's fine though. It comes in and out.
Cool. I haven't had water for 2 days, so it's lucky that I've got internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So living in the country in Portugal. So there you go. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Great. So what else? What else to cover off today, guys? Yeah, I think we've covered the main points. Close to getting the alpha out the door. The core product's working well. Let me talk about quickly some of the other features that are coming through with the launch of the beta, which we're going for March the 1st. So you would have heard us talk about this in previous calls as well, but the sign-up process to become a pro user is using something called WebAuth, which means that you will create an account with your Streamr app with your biometrics, but that would generate a Web3 wallet address, and TBC whether you'll get a seed phrase with that or not, but I think I'm right in saying you'll write down a 12-word seed phrase. So you can either generate a new Web3 wallet address, or you can use your own Web3 wallet address. And if you have an ENS, for example, like mine is marklittle.eth, then your account will be registered to marklittle.eth or whatever your ENS name is. So that's quite exciting and interesting for a number of reasons. Firstly, of course, it's more private than asking users to sign up with an email address. Now, where users engage with the product on a fiat level, they'll have to hand over their email address for their Stripe account. But we're building the core architecture in such a way so that in the future, when we introduce crypto payment rails, you can use the product without handing over any email address at all. And we're doing that obviously for privacy reasons. The biometrics that we capture on sign up, we don't capture them, they stay on device. So you can sign up with your fingerprint if you're using a laptop, or Face ID if you're using a mobile device. And we're also exploring an option to side skip bio entirely and have password only logins, because some people have some skepticism around fingerprint and Face ID, but we're kind of working that through at the moment. But for the beta launch, it's going to be this biometrics kind of account creation and setup, which we're quite excited about. One of the reasons we think that it makes sense, we like it, is because as your identity in the Streamr app is centered around a Web3 wallet address, it means that we're going to introduce a feature with the beta launch, which is whereby the session host of the video conference or live stream can ask a speaker to verify their identity by cryptographic signing with a Web3 wallet. So, for example, I'm hosting this video conference. Petri and Adiv are my guests. I want to make sure I'm speaking to Petri and that it's not a deepfake AI and he's here to socially engineer me and scam me. And then I'm going to ask Petri in the product to sign with his Ledger or his Trezor or with his MetaMask to say, yes, I am Petri.ens, or I am this Web3 wallet address. So why is this so interesting to us? Well, for advanced Web3 users, what we see almost every month is the story of someone's joining a Zoom call, they're socially engineered into downloading malware on the Zoom app. Malware drains crypto wallet. That scam's been going on for best part of 2 years, if not longer. So because we're building on these Web3 rails, we solve that problem if the session host asks the attendee to verify their identity. So this is great. And then other things we're introducing with the beta, just to recap, for pro users, for which they'll pay a micro subscription of $3.99 a month, the video conference will be propagated via Streamr Networks operator nodes. We've been on a journey to make this happen. First with the Auto Staker plugin, and now as we introduce Streamr Beta, all of that video data is going to go through the Streamr network at an operator node level. We're doing that for a number of reasons. It supports the data token price and tokenomics, is a key part of the rationale, and we want to drive this direct linkage between the sort of application layer and the protocol layer, or the network layer. But obviously there are other benefits to leveraging operator nodes. So first of all the first one is privacy orientated. So it's called IP obfuscation, and it gets quite technical quite quickly. But essentially, if we're redirecting video conferences via operator nodes, we can mask the source point IP amongst a number of other IP addresses, and so it becomes much harder to identify which IP address was the original streamer of a given broadcast session. So for certain use cases like, I don't know, activist journalism or something like that, where the original session host wants to protect their location, this feature helps them do that. It's not a foolproof solution, and we continue to discuss and work on the ultimate solution for that. Although, it could be argued the reality is if you're using the internet, it's very, very difficult to hide your location for people that really know what they're doing. But this is another conversation for another day, and it's in the roadmap, and Petri and I and the other guys keep talking and building on this. But anyway, deploying via operator nodes gives that level of privacy. And then there's other sort of performance related benefits with respect to engaging operator nodes, including sort of bandwidth efficiencies, and it supports better broadcasting in challenging network conditions. So say, for example, we're doing this call and Adiva's in the States and Petri's in Finland and I'm in Portugal. There's large geographic distances there. We need low latency. We need robust connectivity in order for that to work consistently 100% of the time. And so, of course, that's where operator nodes come in as good actors in the network. So yeah, that's really exciting. And then there's other sort of features that you might come to expect of a video conferencing and broadcasting app at the pro user level. So video recordings, meeting passwords, etc., etc. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty comprehensive product at launch. So big step forward from MVP2. Big step forward. Massive step forward.
So maybe you forgot multi-stream. I think that's very.
Oh yeah, just because I talked about it at the beginning of
exciting.
the call, but yeah. Only because I talked about it at the beginning of this call, Petri. But yeah, multi-streaming is another key feature. So just to reiterate, for those content creators that are currently using platforms like StreamYard, as we are on this call right now, so we're multi-streaming into X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Binance Live, not TikTok yet because you need a custom RTMP bridge. Whether we bring that with Streamer Beta in March, don't know. Depends if we get to it. But yeah, very easily for a session host, they can host a video conference. They can restream that publicly to an unlimited audience direct from the app, or they can restream it into their favorite social media channels and platforms. So it's a private and public broadcasting super app in one go. And yeah, that's the restreaming functionality. And then there's another functionality as well. Whilst we were there, we thought, why don't we just build Loom? Like Loom is, believe it or not, sold to. I was reading this last month. I think I'm right in saying it's sold to Atlassian for just under $1 billion, which blows my tiny mind because all Loom does is self-recorded videos for async comms. That's pretty much the core value proposition. We built it. It's going to be a feature in the Streamer Beta at launch. So there's that as well. And, really we're building these features because we've got this kind of core persona in mind, who is the privacy-orientated tech entrepreneur. That's how we're talking about him or her. And these people are using 2 or 3 or 4 different video platforms throughout the course of their week to do different things. Why not just do it all on Streamer for a fraction of the price and have security built in? Why not get all of those features in one for less, and it's trustless, permissionless tech at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at with Streamer apps. So yeah. Cool. Trying to think what else to update the guys on. Bit of a team update. We've talked about this in the community as well, because the token price, our treasury is low at the moment, so we've had to strip back the team. We're down to sort of core 4-man team as of next week. So Petri and one other dev, myself, one other growth guy, and then we've got about 25% of a dev, something like that. Is that right, Dev?
something like that.
Yeah. I try and get more of you when I can. So yeah, super lean team, I'd say 4 in total. We get support from Henry, who's the original founder of Streamer, as and when needed. And Henry sits in the council, is very active in the progress of the project, as is Nikkei, the other co-founder of Streamer. So yeah, we're in sort of full startup mode, full founder mode, which is quite refreshing, I have to say. It means you have to get your teeth stuck into everything every day. But we are going at pace as a result. Sometimes less is more. So yeah, our burn rate's down significantly, and we need to turn the token price around by delivering great products and getting traction on this application layer, and then the good things will start to happen again. So yeah, we are. I'm not sure if it went out today. Actually, I didn't check, but we're just about to distribute a transparency report as well with the update of Q4. Everything on there we've talked about in this call and this forum pretty much before, and we've shared all the detail of that in the community if you're in the Discord. But that transparency report will be published either later today or tomorrow. So yeah, that's it really. Adeev, any questions in any of the channels, or any other questions you want to fire my way or to Petri?
So we do have one question.
A few questions actually in the studio chat.
Yeah. Do you want to go with the first one?
Yeah. Do you have potential companies that could test this product on a smaller scale? I'm not quite sure what the question's getting at, whether it's about bug testing or whether it's about security testing. If it's about bug testing, then we're going to follow the same pattern that we have done previously. So as we launch the alpha on Friday, we're going to ask community members to give us feedback on sort of bugs, and we've gone through that process with MVP2, MVP1, and Streamer mainnet. The process works really, really well. So if you're listening to this and you want to start using the alpha on Friday, please do. feedback in the Discord. We'll get the comments there. It really helps us get through the bugs quicker and more efficiently. I think actually the question might have been aimed at, do you have companies that do penetration tests in terms of security and privacy? So we know who those companies are. We haven't engaged with them yet, just because we've got other priorities and we've got a high level of confidence because we know Streamr technology like the back of our hand. But at some point in time, we'll definitely go through that process. I think also we'll probably run some sort of bounty or campaign asking developers to come in and perform sort of penetration tests, and maybe if they can break the code, then they get a small, they get a reward or something like that. So yeah, Petri, we should probably have a chat about that sometime. That might be a nice idea. Next question was, Xspaces does support video, by the way. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
No, I think the next question, there was one above that from Muhammad. Would you brief us on the financial position and potential impacts on the roadmap?
Yeah, where's that question? I didn't see that question. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It was above the, do you have potential companies that could test this product on a smaller scale?
Yeah, okay, cool. So I touched on it earlier. We've reduced the team dramatically. We're now 4. So I took on the CEO role about 3 months ago.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. That was an old question. That was a question from last time.
Ah, right, was it?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think I did this time.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I think I kind of covered it off anyway in the last kind of 5 to 10 minutes. We've reduced the team, reduced the burn rate. We just raised in SIP24 from another 100 million tokens of emissions. That'll take us through to 7 or 8 months from now, depending on token price and burn rate. But that's the plan. And then we're moving away from the emissions model at the request of the DAO. So part of what I'm doing as well now is thinking about raising capital. So yeah, we're getting into pitch decks, building investor lists, and probably I'd say back end of February, I'm going to start going out and having first conversations with VCs. So that's in the pipeline as well. If there are any investors out there listening to this and you want to speak to me, hit me up on X, LinkedIn, and let's talk. And we'll talk on the Streamr app in private. So yeah, that's the finances. Next question was, Xspaces does support video, by the way. Yeah, I know. Why are we not using Xspaces then? Last time I checked, audience was not able to.
No, the next question is any chance for collaborations with NASA or SpaceX to stream their broadcast from space 24/7? That's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, very cool. If anyone's got a warm introduction to NASA or SpaceX, then I'd love to speak to them. The reality of these fantastic ideas that come in regularly and via the Discord and community is that you need kind of warm introductions. Like I can approach NASA, I can approach SpaceX, but I'm not even going to get a call. I'm not even going to get a meeting. That's the reality of where we're at, because we're a very small startup. So maybe in 6 months' time or a year's time, we've got traction and we've got a really strong product with good track record. We've generated some noise, our network will build. You never know. But yeah, I love that idea if we can get the introduction. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. We can. I mean,
so do we say when we're going to release the alpha, or we're just we'll wait till an announcement on our X account?
We're going for Friday.
Okay.
Easy for me to say that. Petri's got a better view on what still needs to be done. So,
yeah, we shall try to do it on Friday, unless there is something surprising happening. But looking good, considering.
Yeah.
Yes.
One final question just came in. What direction will you go for the most? Sports broadcast, news conferences, team building, or ? So we're starting the journey in video conferencing. We think that's where we have a role to play. We think that because of what we see in terms of search volume, CPCs, where the market is at with regards to privacy and security, where the concerns are. We've looked at Reddit data a lot. You'll have heard Timpy come on to this call, actually, and we worked with Timpy to scrape a lot of Reddit data using their decentralized network and then used decentralized compute in order to process a lot of that data and give us the insight. So that's basically saying privacy and security is massive within video streaming, lends you to broadcasting, video conferencing. And the other big part of it is that we have, the market is dominated by Google Meet, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, and they all do the same thing, and they're compromised. Our technology is serverless, end-to-end encrypted, and it hyperscales. Like our core technology ladders up to this use case very, very well. If we look at some of the other verticals that are mentioned in this question, such as, I know, sports broadcasting, let's think about grassroots sports broadcasting. There's a bunch of these companies all over Europe and America. They're centralized, they're Web2 expressions. We don't really have a competitive advantage from our technology there. You can argue that we do, but it's not central to our technology. Like, what is Streamr Network about? It's about trustless video streaming or audio streaming, or trustless communications, and which is serverless, and it's about better security and better privacy. So that's why we think we're going to start with kind of video conferencing in the sort of team building space. But we're not ruling out all the other use cases as well. Like, this is a super app. It does private broadcasting very, very well. It does public broadcasting very, very well as well. So, you know, it's kind of like if Zoom, Loom, and StreamYard had a baby, and that baby was serverless and very secure. So we're playing many cards, which is good. Because as we build campaigns, we can speak to different personas and bring them in through different funnels. And with time, what's going to happen is we're going to see different CPAs for different funnels and different channels, and different personas come in and use the product in different ways. So that's how super apps work. So if you think about Canva, for example, massive company now, they have all sorts of different personas and use cases within their super app product. There's marketeers like me, there's professional designers, there's musicians, anyone that wants to create a graphic, a presentation, a card, a gift card, a business card, whatever it is. So yeah, I think that's a nice analogy, but of course we have to start somewhere, because you want to start sharp and you want to start narrow as you go to market. So yeah, we're starting with video conferencing. Okay,
that makes a lot of sense. Like, that's kind of what it is at the end of the day. That's what I was trying to wrap my head around it as well. Like, what would be our ICP, ideal like customer profile? But I think, like you said, it's gonna encompass a lot of people, and then eventually it's gonna be like a niche. Like, we'll find a specific niche, which might be entrepreneurs that want privacy, or people that just want to have privacy, like privacy-centered people. And then eventually I can see it just broadening out to other customer profiles.
Yeah, 100%. So I would say our ICP today is the privacy-centric entrepreneur. That's the bullseye target, which is me, essentially. But I know many people like me in my network that live their lives on video conferences and are sick and tired of handing over all of their data to Google and to Zoom and to Microsoft Teams because there are no alternatives. But, you know, I touched on this call earlier in terms of we're building a referral, you might want to call it an affiliate system, but it's a URL-centered invite system whereby session hosts, whether they're holding private video conferences or public broadcasts, the meeting URL is also a referral link. And the way it's going to work is that you go about doing your business on a day-to-day basis on a video conferencing application. And as you're having those calls, your participants are coming in, the audience members, and they're seeing this kind of meet to earn system. And then they're becoming engaged with it and saying, okay, what is this meet to earn? And essentially what's happening is as you're using the product, you're earning 50% of new sign-ups that come in through your referral link. You're earning 50% of their subscription. So what that means, because the subscription is $399 per month, it means that if you bring in 2 paying users, you've paid for your own subscription and it becomes a free product again. So it's not expensive by any stretch of the imagination. For anyone anywhere in the world, this is cost effective because you only have to bring in 2 users for it to wipe its face, so to speak. Now you could say, okay, but you're going up against products that are free. Well, everybody that's a privacy advocate and works in tech or as an entrepreneur understands that Google Meet is far from free. The sacrifice you have to make is you are the product. Your data is the product. That's what they're selling. So that's the compromise there that we're overcoming. And privacy-based products typically do charge a fee, not always, but sometimes. And we think it's a micro subscription. It's a small amount to pay, considering that you can replace Google Meet, StreamYard, Loom, and you get your privacy and security thrown in. So we think the economics of it make a lot of sense. And in fact, if you're one of those people that can bring in more than 2 users, you're actually going to earn money just from doing your day-to-day business on the Streamr app, which is fantastic. Secondly, I'd say that if you actually look at products like Zoom, they're very good at monetizing you and they trade you up very, very quickly. Obviously, meeting lengths are limited to 40 minutes, which is very frustrating if you're spending all day, every day in video conferences, leading teams. And, audience sizes, they trade you up to very high price points very quickly. Like say you're building a startup and you have a community that has 300 people, they trade you up to the next tier. If you want to live stream to 1,000 people, they trade you up to the next tier. Before you know it, you're calling up their sales team and paying enterprise prices. So it's very cost effective to use Streamr app. But the whole mindset is here, we need to get into revenue generation ultimately so we can support the Streamr network and the tokenomics of Streamr network, and we can redistribute value from this application layer back to the operator nodes. So yeah, that's where we're at on the sort of pricing model and this referral marketing system called Meet to Earn. I'm very excited about this. This is your classic direct-to-consumer marketing playbook, but it's going to reward people that are using the product day in, day out. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. No more questions coming through. Yeah, we could wrap up, guys. We could wrap up. Oh, I've got a guest for 2 weeks' time, I think. So there's a chap I know in my network called Jordi Nakamoto. He is the founder of something called BitComps, which is a tokenized raffle ticket type competition. So when you're in the mall or whatever, as you call it in America, and you see someone selling tickets for like, I don't know, $10 for the chance to win a Lambo or something like that.
Yeah.
Competitions. So he's doing a tokenized version of that. He wants to use Streamr TV Streamr app to host the prize giveaways. So it's all on chain. The reason it's on chain is because in that industry there's a lot of skepticism around whether prizes are actually bought and distributed to prize winners. So they're using the ledger to make that whole process more robust. So yeah, I think we might get the BitComps guys onto this building public call next week, hear about their project and how they're going to use Streamr app. So yeah, we'll do
Amazing.
that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, sounds like a great call. That sounds like a great guest.
Yeah, he's pretty cool guy. So yeah, it'd be nice to talk to him. By which time, no, I was going to say maybe we could host this call on Streamr app, but I think it's a bit premature still.
And stream to Meet won't be live to beta, right? The Stream to Meet.
Meet to Earn.
Meet to Earn. Sorry, Meet to Earn. Stream to Meet. Meet to Earn. That won't be live till beta, correct?
Yeah, that comes with the beta launch. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the process of building the back end system to that, and how all the referrals work And obviously, that's kind of a cookie-based system for those that want to participate. Now, if you're a true privacy advocate, you might not want to participate in Meet to Earn because you don't want us to serve you cookies all the time. They're only product cookies. They're not internet tracking marketing cookies. But nevertheless, if you don't want to participate in Meet to Earn, then you turn it off and you go into a non mode. So
cool.
I mean, like, obviously,
it'd be as easy as a toggle to initiate that privacy.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, some of our users are going to be like hardcore privacy advocates. They're not going to want to participate in something called Meet to Earn, right? So that's right. Right, so got a question. What milestone is key for mass adoption? Well, I'll tell you what milestone I'm thinking about. We just went through the process of SIP24, and we made a number of commitments in SIP24. We said by mid-year we were going to go back with a number of things, including formal recommendation on how to open source and when to open source. We've started working on that already in the council. We've got some good thoughts on the table already with respect to that. But the big milestone that we're looking at really is in 6 months' time, we need to get hard numbers on the table in terms of D2C marketing. And we need to do that for a number of reasons. If we do go for another SIP, which we're trying not to, we might go for a mini SIP, then the community and the DAO are going to want to understand how many users we've acquired, what was the cost of acquisition, how much ROI are we getting on our marketing spend, and that's kind of key. And I want to know that as a growth guy. And furthermore, as we go and raise a seed round from VCs are going to want to know that. Almost certainly we're going to raise some EU investors rather than American investors. American investors are much more sort of blue sky visionary. We're going to change the world with another unicorn, and that's what they're looking for. I'm generalizing now, but in the EU it tends to be less kind of vision orientated and much more kind of numbers driven in terms of the hard commercials. So that's the milestone that we're going for in the next 6 months, is really to understand what the D2C model looks like and what's the relationship between cost of acquisition and lifetime value. It's quite hard to get a robust number on lifetime value if you've only had a product for 6 months. Well, actually, by mid-year, the product will only have been live for 3 to 4 months. So you can't really get into detailed cohort analysis, but you can make some good assumptions and you can understand that relationship between cost of acquisition and lifetime value, which is the key metric you're looking for. So that's a key milestone. That's what we're pushing really hard to get to. And then, from there, I think we can start to understand what it looks like if we spend, $250,000 on marketing, $500,000 on marketing, $1 million on marketing. We're going to have a model that says, okay, this is how many users we bring in, and this is how much revenue we generate. So, that's how I'd answer that question. Like, the question was, what milestone is key for mass adoption? It's quite hard just to answer that and say mass adoption is going to happen at this point in time, and this is what mass adoption looks like right now. It comes in steps, and the next step is we need to get these first turn these first marketing metrics from assumptions or estimates into hard data, which is why we've been pushing hard to launch the product in as final form as we can. I think it's fair to say, if you buy into the lean startup sort of mindset and methodology, when that book was written, and that was a long time ago now, I don't know when it was written, but probably it was 10 years ago, I don't know. You could get away with launching an MVP, which would be quite scrappy, and users would pay for it because it was not the early days of the internet, but it was less sophisticated. Like Zuckerberg's famous quote was, "If you're not thoroughly embarrassed by your first product, then you've shipped it too late."
Yeah,
or something along those lines. So, but I don't think that's how the world works now. Like, we need a polished, slick product to go to market. If people are going to pull out their credit card and pay, a subscription of their hard-earned money every month. So hats off to Petri and the team, because from what I've seen, our beta product's going to be pretty polished. It won't be perfect. It's going to be the first launch. It's going to have bugs, but we'll iron those out quickly. But it's definitely feature-rich, especially for the price versus everything else that's out in the market. Plus, we know that it's much, much, much more secure. Almost impossible to get into the video content. So yeah, this is who we're going after. Another question just come in. Who's your biggest competitor today? I think Zoom. I really think Zoom. We can take Zoom users. There's no doubt in my mind. See, Google's a bit of a tricky one because people like heavy users of Google have signed up to G Suite, so they know they're sacrificing their data to Google. And yes, it's an increasing concern for a lot of people. But once you've signed up to G Suite, you're using all of their products, and so there's kind of a stickiness with their suite of products. But Zoom is like because all it does is video conferencing, and it doesn't do it very well. Product's increasingly clunky. It's not secure. They're looking at your video streams. They're looking at your metadata. The app is subject to social engineering scams. The UX is awful. It's clunky. It's a pain in the backside to use. It used to be super lightweight, clean product. It's not that nowadays. And the reason it's not that nowadays is because the majority of their revenue comes from enterprise users. So our first revenue won't come from enterprise users. That's a journey that takes years to get to because you have to get to certain standardization and all this sort of stuff before enterprise even consider using you. But the individual users of Zoom that are paying subscription to use Zoom, we can get those people easily.
It's almost like I feel like a good method is even Reddit, like where, and I know we kind of talked about it, but I feel like those type of users are a little bit more anonymous and concerned about their privacy.
Yeah.
So like going on those Reddit threads that are all about privacy and security, and like kind of speaking to them about this product is could be interesting. Could be an interesting strategy.
Yeah. So we've looked at the Reddit, all of the video streaming related subreddits in detail. And there's so much insight in there. It's a fantastic resource. Like you say, it overskews massively on privacy advocates and also engineers and developers. So the conversation there can be quite technical. I don't even know how to start summarizing all of the insight in Reddit. I mean, it's a 2-hour conversation at least, but yeah, definitely we're looking at that. And it's validated a lot of our assumptions at the start of this sort of process, kind of 12 months ago. When we started talking about video streaming properly, and we built MVP 1, which was kind of now 10 months ago. A lot of the things we were talking about then were kind of assumptions, but you see it all in the Reddit data. It's all there. But privacy is like an increasing concern for more and more people around the world, because the status quo now is for big tech to look at all of your data, and not just metadata, like actual content. Emails, they're reading it. It's training their AI. You think a lot of people think that is a private communication between yourself and somebody else. It's not. And then you start going down the rabbit hole on it, and then you start to see many other platforms that are positioned as private and secure, but they're not. They're just not. It's like, and so anyone that's got any basic understanding of this is concerned about it. And this whole trend gets worse and worse and worse with the onset of AI, because all these big tech companies need more data to train their AI, because it's such a competitive field. The more data they can get, it's an edge to them. So this problem gets worse and worse and worse. And I think we're at the right point in history and time in order to, to capitalize that and to build better products for people. And that's why we're here, really. So yeah, biggest today is Zoom. But yeah, I mean, we're leading with security and privacy first and foremost, but I don't view the other security and privacy platforms as competitors, because I think privacy advocates use multiple privacy products together. Like they'll use Proton Mail, they'll use Signal. They're all doing slightly different things. Proton actually cover a lot of products and apps. So they've got Proton Drive, Proton Calendar, Proton VPN, Proton Password Manager. They've got a Proton video conferencing product in beta or closed beta to their community. But then you go on Reddit and you really go down the rabbit hole with privacy advocates, and there's a lot of cynicism there. And the reason is it's centralized and it's server driven. And history tells us that if certain government authorities go to Proton and ask for metadata in terms of IP location of certain people, Proton hand it over. They have to. So we're gonna a lot of people say the Proton's a honeypot. Honeypot is the term that privacy advocates use when you're being to hand over your data on the premise that you think that it's a privacy-based application. Like a lot of VPNs are honeypots. Like you don't know who are the organizations behind VPNs, which is why using a decentralized VPN is a good idea. The Tor network is a honeypot. That's why a decentralized Tor network is a better solution, etc. So do I view like the other privacy-based platforms as direct competitors? Not. I mean, I do and I don't. I think the low-hanging fruit for us as Zoom users is a bigger opportunity for us right now. Like privacy advocates, it's a big space, it's growing, but it's easier for us to get Zoom users in first and foremost. I believe. I might be wrong. We might get into this and say, okay, all of our first users are hardcore privacy advocates looking for better solutions, in which case we'll switch up and go after those as our sort of core ICP. But that's the beauty of growth marketing is you'll start to understand that quite quickly. So interestingly, I'm running various campaigns at the moment, search campaigns, and the performance of Zoom alternatives versus more private and secure video conferencing in terms of search and CPC and click-through rates on the creative is very, very similar. Now it's early days because we're still not spending a lot of money on purpose, right? Because we're pre-launch. We're still testing and split testing, but actually those two campaigns, are winning two campaigns, and they're performing pretty well actually in terms of CPC. It's quite low, surprisingly low. But yeah, the demand for both of those things is pretty equal. So it's quite an encouraging start. But yeah, we've got a long way to go on that. So yeah. That's it, guys, in terms of questions. 59 minutes in. There we go. We always seem to do this call in exactly an hour. It's quite good.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, if you've got any more questions for us, guys, after the call and after we've wrapped up, post it in the X thread or in the Discord, and we'll try and come back. I haven't been in Discord this week, been too busy, but I'll jump in there end of the week. I'm sure Petri will as well as we launch the alpha. So, Petri, anything you want to wrap up with, or?
No, I think nothing to add. Just some hard hacking ahead in the following couple of days. And
yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
Well, let's wrap up then, so you can go and keep working on the alpha, and then we'll get that out on Friday.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone who's listening. And yeah, as I said, if you've got any follow-on comments, questions, throw them in the channels, and we'll respond when we can. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Bye everyone.